Hello, my name is Shayla, and today I'm going to speak to you about the French Canadian of Quebec origin. The people of Quebec represents a rich cultural heritage of French settlers, Native Canadians, as well as Scottish, Irish, English, and people from all over the world. Immigrants from all over the world has come to live in Quebec. So it's not just the Quebec people that lives there anymore. Their social identity is a result of their cultural and their geographic history. While New France was claimed by a French settler, which was Jacques Cartier in 1534, they were not the first people here. The first people here was the nation people, which is indigenous people. And that's where the name Quebec comes from. It comes from Algonquin tribe, their language. That was their language. That's where it came. It means straight. And that's why it's called Quebec. It comes from there. There was 12 different Canadian tribes that lived here thousands of years ago. And there some still live there today. Let's talk about diversity. Is very diverse today. They was the first people here, and their beliefs was they were more spiritual than religious. So that's what you had in the beginning. You had just spiritual beliefs, not the religion of the beliefs. Like I said, when the first French settler come here. They developed the Roman Catholic Church, and that's what their beliefs were strongly was the Roman Catholic Church. The indigenous people and the French people merged things together, not so much as beliefs, but they merged things as far as when it came to medicines. The medicines that you saw was because the indigenous people believed that they had a kinship with the land, and that because the Creator had given them the land, they had an obligation to take care of the land, and they used what was on the land to take care of themselves. So they took care of the land, and in return, the land took care of them. So the medicines that you saw during the European time was from the indigenous people. The indigenous people taught the French people about medicines. And one of the plants that was used greatly was yarrow. Yarrow is a medicine that it's a plant. It's a plant that's it's leaves, and when you chew them, it'll take care colds and coughs and skin rashes. But if you soak them in water, you would get a tea, and that tea can be used for stomach bug, vomiting, even used as to detox your liver. The next plant they used was the yarrow was additionally. The yarrow was a plant that was used as a medicine of taking, but it also used as a protection. If you had it in your possession, it posed a form of protection around you. Also, they had what they call American sweet flag. Never heard of it. Sweet flag was used for smallpox. That was one of the first things that was introduced to the Europeans. And they had an epidemic, outbreak of smallpox. So the indigenous people used that to help cure the smallpox, and then they developed respiratory problems. They used that to take care of the respiratory issues that the European people was having. So, and also used for heart disease. That became a huge thing. So a lot of things were adopted by the Europeans that was taught to them by the indigenous people. They also used birchberry. which is used as an antiviral remedy. This was used, and it's still used today. It is used for herpes, for like cold sores. So some of the things are still used today. And the biggest thing about it used today, some things are not used for the reason that we don't know how it affects things in modern time, like modern medicine now. Like if you're taking one thing and you take this birch berry, could it affect in a different way? Those things are still being worked out. They can't totally work it out. Part of the reason is because the indigenous people, they have it's an area called the Boreal Forest, which is a lot of plants are there. But the people don't know how to use the plants that's there, but the indigenous people do. But because they don't want their land to be governed, they don't tell all the secrets about the medicine. So we have to work ours through by breaking down to a chemical to figure out how things, react to each other. So our approach to medicine is more of a, today is holistic, and use of yoga, use of meditation. We use what we call a sauna, but back then they used what they called a sweat bath. So if you need to be detox, you sit in the sweat bath. But what we do now, we sit in a sauna to sweat too. That's our holistic way of getting rid of detox. Mental health. And the French Canadian, that's one of the leading causes of disabilities right now today in Quebec. It's very taboo. They do not want to speak of it. They don't want to talk about it. Today, they didn't want to talk about it before. And so it still leads to a huge, big problem. And the mindset is they're very fearful. They're afraid of what people will think or say. People tend to think there's some type of biological connection, which we know it can be. But if one look bad, make the whole family look bad. So they're taught to keep it to themselves. It's their problem. Work out your problem. Keep it to yourself. Now, those who have a different view of it is because they're more educated, meaning they either have more education or educated themselves on the problem, and that's why they have a different view on it versus allowing it to be taboo. The healthcare system. The healthcare system, they are using some of the medicines from the indigenous people today. Matter of fact, they're using a drug called Paxlovid, which is used as it's a chemo. It's used part of chemotherapy. We are actually using it. It comes from the ground. The ground, it comes from like shrub bushes, but it's in the ground. It's in the soil. It's in the root of it. And they are using that with chemo drugs. So we are constantly evolving, and we use the medicines today. This is my board. My board shows the map, the flag, the snowbird. It shows the different tribes. It shows the blue flag Irish plant. It shows the different herbs that I talked about. That are used, which is that these are the shrubs. I don't know if you can see. These are the shrubs that are used for the chemotherapy today. The sweet flag, they use that today. So these are still being used today. So that's the French Canadian Quebec origin. Thank you.